It was an unusually busy morning on the winding highway that cut through the forested hills. Commuters hurried to their destinations, horns blaring and engines rumbling. Among the usual chaos, something unusual caught the attention of drivers. A large eagle standing in the middle of the road, its majestic wings slightly extended as if to block the cars.
The bird didn't fly away as vehicles approached. Instead, it remained rooted to the spot, letting out piercing cries that echoed through the crisp air. Drivers slowed down, unsure of how to proceed, some stepping out of their vehicles to observe the strange scene. Whispers of confusion and concern rippled through the growing crowd. At first glance, the eagle appeared uninjured. Its glossy feathers shone under the sunlight, and its sharp eyes darted between the onlookers. But there was something in its cries, an urgency, a desperation, that hinted at a deeper reason for its behavior. The bird seemed to be trying to communicate, to draw attention to something no one could yet understand. Among the stopped vehicles was a middle-aged woman named Laura, an avid birdwatcher on her way to a nearby sanctuary. Her trained eyes immediately recognized the eagle as a golden eagle, a rare and powerful species known for its sharp intelligence and fierce loyalty. Alarmed by its unusual behavior, she stepped out of her car and cautiously approached the bird. "Something's wrong," Laura murmured to herself as she observed the eagle's movements. It wasn't just blocking the road. It seemed to be trying to guide the crowd's attention elsewhere, turning its head toward the dense forest on the side of the highway. Laura felt a chill run down her spine. This isn't normal, she thought. She quickly called the local wildlife rescue hotline, explaining the situation to the operator. "We need someone here immediately," she said. "This bird is clearly in distress, and I think it's trying to tell us something." While Laura made the call, more onlookers gathered, their curiosity growing. Some tried to shoo the eagle off the road, but it refused to budge. Its cries grew louder, more insistent, as if begging for help. "Leave it alone!" Laura called out, her voice firm. "It's not just being stubborn, it needs our attention!" The commotion eventually caught the notice of a passing police car. Officers Mark and Elena arrived on the scene, stepping out to assess the unusual traffic jam. At first, they thought it was a simple case of wildlife getting too close to human activity, but as they approached the eagle, they quickly realized this was no ordinary situation. The bird locked eyes with them, letting out another sharp cry before turning its head toward the forest. "What's it doing?" Mark asked, his brow furrowed. "It's trying to show us something," Laura replied, her voice urgent. "We need to follow it." Trusting Laura's expertise, the officers decided to investigate. Elena radioed for backup, while Mark tried to guide the eagle gently off the road. But instead of moving away, the bird flapped its powerful wings and hopped toward the forest, pausing to look back as if urging them to follow. "This is incredible," Elena said, pulling out her phone to document the scene. "It's like it knows we're here to help." As the group ventured into the woods, the eagle led the way, its cries growing softer but no less urgent. The crowd watched from a distance, whispering among themselves, their curiosity and concern mounting. Whatever the eagle was leading them to, it was clear this was no random encounter. The officers and Laura followed the bird deeper into the forest, their footsteps crunching softly against the fallen leaves. The eagle paused every few moments, glancing back to ensure they were still behind it. The tension was palpable, a mix of awe and anticipation hanging in the air. After several minutes, the group emerged into a small clearing, and what they saw left them stunned. A fallen tree had created a hidden crevice, and within it, the faint sound of movement could be heard. The eagle let out a mournful cry, landing near the opening and peering inside. "What's in there?" Elena asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Laura knelt cautiously by the crevice, her heart pounding. As she peered into the dark space, her breath caught. "There's something alive in there," she said. "And it's small,
Laura's hands trembled slightly as she reached for her flashlight, the beam cutting through the shadows of the crevice. She leaned closer, her breath catching as the light revealed what lay inside, a small eaglet huddled and shaking. Its tiny body was pressed against the rough walls of the hollow, its downy feathers dirty and damp. The eaglet let out a weak chirp, its voice a faint echo of the powerful cries of its parent.
"Oh my goodness," Laura whispered. "It's her baby." The officers exchanged stunned glances as the realization sank in. The eagle's cries, its insistence on stopping traffic and leading them into the forest, it had all been to save its young. "She was trying to protect it," Elena said, her voice soft with awe. "She needed help and knew we could provide it." Mark crouched beside Laura, shining his flashlight into the crevice for a closer look. "The little one must have fallen from the nest," he said. "It's amazing the mother stayed close and tried to find help instead of abandoning it." The adult eagle watched from a nearby branch, its sharp eyes fixed on the group below. It let out a low, steady call, as though urging them to hurry. "She's trusting us," Laura said, glancing up at the bird. "We can't let her down." Working carefully, Laura and Mark cleared some of the debris around the crevice. The eaglet flinched at the sudden movement, its small wings flapping weakly in an attempt to protect itself. "It's okay," Laura murmured, her voice soothing. "We're here to help." Using a soft cloth she'd brought from her car, Laura gently reached into the crevice and cradled the eaglet in her hands. The tiny bird weighed almost nothing, its fragile body trembling with fear and cold. "We need to get it somewhere safe," she said, her voice firm but gentle. "It's dehydrated and weak." Elena radioed for animal rescue, explaining the urgency of the situation. "We've got an injured eaglet," she said. "We need transport to a wildlife rehabilitation center ASAP." Within minutes, a team from the local wildlife rescue arrived. They carefully examined the eaglet, confirming Laura's assessment. "It's in rough shape, but it's strong," one of the rescuers said. "With the right care, it should recover." As the team prepared to transport the eaglet, the mother eagle swooped down from her perch, landing just a few feet away. Her piercing gaze locked onto the rescuers, her powerful wings slightly extended in a protective stance. It was clear she wouldn't leave without a sign that her baby would be safe. Laura stepped forward, holding her hands up in a gesture of calm. "She just wants to know her baby is okay," she said. Slowly, she approached the rescuers, who held the eaglet in a small padded crate. "Let her see." The team carefully tilted the crate, allowing the mother eagle to glimpse her young inside. The eaglet let out a faint chirp, and the mother responded with a low, soothing cry. The interaction was brief, but it seemed to reassure the mother. She relaxed slightly, her wings folding against her body. "She understands," Elena said, her voice tinged with awe. "She knows we're helping." As the rescue team carried the eaglet toward their vehicle, the mother eagle followed, flying low and keeping a watchful eye. Laura, the officers, and the gathered onlookers watched in silence, their hearts moved by the incredible display of maternal instinct and trust. "I've never seen anything like this," Mark said quietly. "It's like she knew exactly what to do to save her baby." "She did," Laura replied. "She found us, and she wouldn't take no for an answer." As the rescue team drove away, the mother eagle remained perched on a nearby tree, her eyes following the vehicle until it disappeared from view. Laura felt a lump rise in her throat as she watched the majestic bird. "She'll stay close," she said. "She knows we'll do everything we can." The group began to disperse, but the weight of what they had witnessed stayed with them. The eagle's cries had stopped, replaced by a quiet dignity that spoke volumes about the power of love and the lengths a mother would go to protect her young.
The eaglet's arrival at the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center sparked a wave of interest and support. News of the mother eagle's extraordinary actions quickly spread, capturing the hearts of people near and far. Local news stations covered the story, and photos of the majestic bird standing defiantly in the middle of the road went viral. People marveled at her intelligence and determination, calling her a mother like no other.
At the center, the eaglet was placed in a temperature-controlled enclosure and given fluids and nutrition. The staff named the little one Aspen after the tall trees that surrounded the forest where it had been found. Aspen's fragile condition required round-the-clock care, but the veterinarians were optimistic. "It's a fighter," one of the staff members said, "just like its mom." Back in the forest, the mother eagle stayed near the site where her baby had been rescued. Laura visited the area frequently, her heart drawn to the bird who had shown such remarkable trust in humans. Each time she came, the eagle seemed to recognize her, watching calmly from a perch high in the trees. One afternoon, Laura brought her binoculars and a small journal to document the eagle's behavior. She watched as the bird hunted, soaring effortlessly through the sky, her sharp talons snatching fish from the nearby river. Despite the awe-inspiring display of power, there was a hint of vulnerability in her movements, an unspoken worry for her missing young. "She's waiting," Laura said quietly to herself. "She's waiting for her baby." The Wildlife Center provided updates on Aspen's progress, sharing photos and videos with the community. People flooded their social media pages with messages of support and donations to help cover the costs of the eaglet's care. Children sent drawings of Aspen and her mother, their colorful creations lining the walls of the center's waiting room. For Laura, the story became a personal mission. She worked with the center to organize educational events about eagles and their importance to the ecosystem. "These birds are more than just symbols of freedom," she told a group of schoolchildren. "They're family-oriented, intelligent, and fiercely protective." Aspen's story shows us that love transcends species. Weeks turned into months, and Aspen grew stronger. Its downy feathers gave way to sleek plumage, and its wings developed the strength needed for flight. The veterinarians worked diligently to ensure Aspen was ready to be reunited with its mother, teaching the young eagle how to hunt and survive in the wild. Finally, the day came when Aspen was declared fit for release. The staff, along with Laura and the police officers who had helped that day, gathered at the forest's edge. The mother eagle, still faithfully watching from her perch, let out a sharp cry as the team arrived with Aspen in a secure carrier. "She knows," Laura said, her voice trembling with emotion. "She knows her baby is coming back." The team carefully opened the carrier, and Aspen hesitated for a moment before stepping out. The young eagle stretched its wings, testing the air, before taking a tentative hop toward the edge of the clearing. The mother eagle swooped down from her perch, landing a short distance away. Her piercing gaze seemed to lock onto Aspen, and the young bird chirped softly in response. Aspen flapped its wings, gaining the courage to take flight. With a powerful leap, it joined its mother in the air, their movements perfectly synchronized. The crowd watched in awe as the two eagles soared together, their cries echoing through the forest. For Laura and the others, it was a moment of pure magic. "I'll never forget this," Elena said softly, her eyes fixed on the sky. "It's like they were meant to be reunited." Mark nodded, his voice tinged with awe. "She knew we'd help her, and we did." As the eagles disappeared into the distance, Laura felt a deep sense of fulfillment. "We don't always get to make a difference," she said, "but today, we did."
The reunion of Aspen and its mother sparked more than just a moment of joy. It became a symbol of hope and resilience for everyone who witnessed or heard about it. News outlets across the country picked up the story, framing it as a testament to the bond between a mother and her child, no matter the species. Social media lit up with posts celebrating the eagle's journey, with hashtags like Aspen Reunited and Das Eagle Love trending for weeks.
Laura found herself at the center of the attention, her quiet life suddenly filled with interview requests and speaking engagements. Though initially overwhelmed, she saw an opportunity to spread awareness about wildlife preservation. "This story isn't just about Aspen and her mother," she told one reporter. "It's a reminder of how connected we all are, to nature, to each other, and to the creatures we share this planet with." The forest where Aspen had been found became a local landmark. Families and school groups visited the area, hoping to catch a glimpse of the two eagles soaring through the sky. Guided tours were organized, with Laura often volunteering to lead them. She shared not only the eagles' story, but also lessons about their role in the ecosystem and the importance of protecting their habitats. The community rallied around the cause, raising funds to support the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. New volunteers signed up, inspired by Aspen's journey and eager to help other animals in need. The center expanded its efforts, rescuing more injured and orphaned wildlife and sharing their stories to inspire further change. For the officers who had been part of the rescue, the experience left a lasting impression. Mark and Elena, once skeptical about the urgency of a bird blocking traffic, now saw their jobs in a new light. "You never know what's behind a call like that," Elena said during a local event. "That day reminded me that even small actions can make a big difference." Mark agreed, adding, "Aspen and her mother taught us something important about loyalty, trust, and the need to listen when nature speaks." In the months that followed, sightings of Aspen and her mother became a regular occurrence. The two eagles were often seen hunting together or perched in the tall trees near the river. Their presence became a source of inspiration for the community, a living reminder of the power of love and perseverance. One crisp autumn afternoon, Laura returned to the forest, her binoculars in hand. She had come to reflect on the journey that had started with a desperate cry in the middle of a highway. As she scanned the sky, she spotted the two eagles soaring together, their movements graceful and strong. She couldn't help but smile, her heart swelling with gratitude. "You did it," she whispered, as if the birds could hear her. "You made it." The story of Aspen and her mother continued to inspire beyond the local community. Wildlife organizations used it as an example of the importance of coexistence and compassion. Schools incorporated it into their curriculums, teaching children about the delicate balance of ecosystems and the role humans can play in protecting them. For Laura, the experience brought her a renewed sense of purpose. She dedicated more time to her passion for birdwatching and conservation, often reflecting on how one moment of courage and determination from an eagle had changed so many lives. "It started with her cry," Laura said during a community meeting. "She didn't give up on her baby, and because of that, none of us gave up either."
As time went on, the story of Aspen and her mother became more than just a tale of survival. It grew into a movement of compassion and environmental awareness. The Wildlife Rehabilitation Center experienced a surge in support, allowing them to expand their facilities and rescue efforts. New programs were developed to educate the public about the importance of protecting wildlife and preserving their natural habitats.
Laura's life was forever changed by the experience. She became a local advocate for wildlife conservation, using the story of Aspen to inspire others to act. Her once quiet days of birdwatching transformed into a mission, filled with talks at schools, community events, and even national conferences. Despite the attention, Laura remained humble, always emphasizing that the real heroes were the eagle and her baby. "It was her strength and intelligence that brought us together," Laura often said. She reminded us that even in the wildest parts of nature, love and loyalty are universal. The eagles themselves became local icons. Aspen grew into a strong and confident bird, often seen hunting alongside her mother. Their presence brought a sense of unity and pride to the community. Children would point to the sky during family outings, exclaiming, "Look, it's Aspen!" The bond between the two eagles became a symbol of resilience, teaching the community about the power of persistence and trust. Mark and Eleanor, the officers who had initially responded to the call, also found new meaning in their work. They became advocates for wildlife-friendly policies, ensuring that incidents like Aspen's would be met with care and understanding in the future. Their partnership with Laura and the Rehabilitation Center strengthened, leading to joint efforts in wildlife education and rescue. 1 year after the dramatic rescue, the community held a special event to commemorate the eagle's story. Families, students, and nature enthusiasts gathered at the forest's edge where Aspen had been found. The celebration included guided nature walks, educational booths, and a heartfelt speech by Laura. "This story isn't just about Aspen and her mother," Laura said to the crowd. "It's about all of us. It's a reminder that when we listen to nature, when we respond with kindness and action, we can create something beautiful." As she spoke, 2 eagles appeared in the sky, their silhouettes framed against the setting sun. The crowd fell silent, watching in awe as Aspen and her mother soared above. Their synchronized flight was graceful and strong, a living testament to the bond that had brought them through adversity. Laura stood quietly, her binoculars resting around her neck, her heart full. She thought back to that chaotic day on the highway, the moment when a mother's desperate cries had stopped the world in its tracks. What had started as a small act of compassion had grown into something far greater, a story that united a community and inspired countless others. As the crowd began to disperse, Laura stayed behind, gazing at the sky where the eagles had disappeared. "Thank you," she whispered softly, her words carried on the breeze, "for reminding us of what truly matters."
Bringing her binoculars to her eyes, she scanned the horizon one last time. The forest was quiet now, but she knew it was alive with possibilities. For Laura, the eagles, and everyone whose lives they had touched, the story wasn't just about a moment. It was about a legacy that would endure for years to come.
If this story of love, resilience, and the extraordinary bond between a mother and her child touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep spreading awareness and inspiring compassion for the world around us.